Alright, so let me show you how to mix your beats in 2022. I've made a few beat mixing breakdowns in the past, but you know how it is, man. Workflows change, plugins get better, there's new source that's revealed, so we're doing another one. But before we get going, this is not a mixing video for vocals. This isn't finishing a whole song, getting it mastered, ready for streaming. This is basically how you can get them mixed, ready to put onto your beat store, put onto your socials, YouTube, SoundCloud, all that kind of stuff, so that they're ready to sell to rappers and artists. I'm gonna get straight into the source, so try not to skip ahead too much because there is a little secret step that I've started doing that makes a cool difference. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so here's a little beat that I cooked up last night.
prodllb.
Sounding pretty clean to begin with, to be fair, and that's a major key to begin with, because first you got to use good sounds. There's no point in trying to mix bad sounds. It just makes the whole process a lot harder. All the sounds that I used in this beat are from my latest kit, so we did the Chambers kit, the Essentials kit. So yeah, if you want to get solid sounds that are just clean from the off, tried, tested, then yeah, you know where to go for those sounds. But other than that, let's go, man. The first thing that we need to do is get our master set up, and just as a quick recommendation, I'll do this once, save it as a template, and then that way you don't have to keep doing it every time you open up FL Studio. It's just loaded and ready to go. So all I'm going to do is add an EQ first. I'm going to bump up the highs just a little bit. I'll just normally bump the highs up by like half a dB, nothing crazy, just a very little amount, just to add a bit of brightness to the whole mix. Underneath that, I'll come in with this plugin called Fresh Air. This plugin's by Slate Digital and it's free to download, and this just adds a bit of presence to it, a nice bit of top end to it. So I'll have the mid set at around 8% and I'll have the high set at around 5%. You can copy those settings or you can just do it by your own ear, and you know, it doesn't matter too much. And then last on the chain is just a soft clipper. You can copy these settings if you want as well. Got the slope set to -2.5, everything else at 0. This is the T-Rax Classic clipper. Honestly, I'd recommend getting this because you got a bit more control with this input gain knob, but if you don't have the budget, then just go for the fruity soft clipper, man. But yeah, other than that, that's the master setup, man. Get that saved, save as a template, so you don't have to keep doing it every time you start a new project. Now let's move on to the pre-level, and this is actually kind of like a pre-step to the whole process. So what I mean by the pre-level is, as I'm making the beat, I'll just naturally adjust the volumes in the sequencer just so that they sound nice to my ear as I'm making the beat. My guess is that the majority of you are already probably doing this, so I thought I'd just be thorough and include this. So yeah, I'm making the beat, just putting in the 808. Okay, 808 is too quiet, I'm gonna bump it up. Yeah, now that's knocking. So just go through and do the same thing with every other element in your beat. But yeah, the next step in this process is to get the mixer organized. This will make the next steps much easier. And when it comes to exporting the stems and leaving headroom, this is exactly why we do this. So it's best to do this now. So let's start with the melody elements. Gonna highlight them, come into the mixer, right click, channel routing, route selected channels starting from this track. Same process for the drums, man. Highlight them, come into the mixer and just route them into there as well. This isn't essential, but I like to keep my things organized. So I'll have my melodic elements in the beginning, then I'll have my 808, basses, kicks, and then just all the percussion afterwards, risers, effects, all that kind of stuff. Cool. Now the next thing is leveling. Now this step shouldn't actually take too long if you were doing all the pre-leveling like I mentioned earlier in the first step. You'll find that you only need to make small adjustments, if any. First things first, we need some headroom in this beat. If I play it now, 808 is crazy clipping. So I'm just going to highlight all the sounds and I'm just going to bring it down so that we've got about 4 to 6 dBs worth of headroom. Okay, cool. First, I'm going to start with the 808. So I'm going to solo it, and I'm not actually going to touch this fader knob right here. I'm actually going to come over to the master, open up that classic clipper that we put on at the beginning, and I'm just going to adjust this input gain right here until that 808 is crunching nice and hard like I want it to. If you take a look at the gain reduction display on the left, I tend not to go over 5 dBs worth of gain reduction. So I'm just going to play the beat, bump it up until we get to a nice spot. Yeah, it's hitting nice and hard now. Next, I'll unmute the melody and mix that. One thing to keep in mind when you're leveling your melody is that you don't want to bring it up too high. You got to make sure you're leaving space for vocals. So let's play the beat and just adjust the levels for that. Okay, sounding good. Notice that I'm only needing to make like minute adjustments. I did most of the work when I was pre-leveling, mixing the melody, adding the effects and whatnot. So this is just really fine-tuning everything. So yeah, if you've got several elements in the melody like I do right here, then just do what I did, control, highlight them all, and then adjust them all together. You can either do that or just route them to a separate melody bus. So highlight them all, right click this empty mixer track, click route to this track only, and then all you gotta do is adjust one fader knob right there. Doesn't really matter which way you do it really. But yeah, cool. Now all I've got to do is run through the percussive elements in this beat. I'll start with the most prominent sounds in the beat and then work my way backwards. So normally the clap, the hi-hat, the snare, then the perks, then the risers, the effects, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah, let's go. Alright, that's sounding good to me, man. I didn't actually have to touch some of the sounds because they were already just sat nicely in the mix. And again, that just comes from the pre-leveling. But yeah, that's basically the leveling done. Try not to overthink things, just move through things quite quickly. Use your ear, trust your ear, and it'll come out much cleaner. Now it's for the little secret step, and that is to add tape to your drums only. Not the 808, not the kick, or the bass, just the drums. It's a little subtle mixing technique, but it makes a big difference. So all I'm going to do is find an empty mixer track. Let's just take this one. I'm going to rename it drums. Color it if you want to, and then I'm going to highlight all the percussive elements in the beat, not the 808, just the percussive elements, so the clap, snare, hi-hats, perks, all that stuff. Route them to your drum bus. Make sure you click in route to this track only, very important. And then we're going to add our tape. So the plugin that I'm actually using right now is the Virtual Tape Machines plugin, and it's by Slate Digital. Really sick plugin for this. And then all I'm going to do is toggle this input gain and mess with the tape type down here until I'm happy with it. Again, there's no exact formula, but you just got to do it by ear. You know, there's only two things you have to think about: input and tape type. So yeah, I'm going to solo the drums just so you guys can hear it. And that's literally it, man. Here's the before. After. It's very subtle, but it just beefens up those drums, makes them sound a bit warmer, and it kind of tames off on those harsh frequencies that you normally get with those like crisp sounds in trap beats. But yeah, man, after that, we're pretty much good to go with the beat. Bring everything back in. Now all that's left to do is export. So I'm going to come to File, Export, Wave File, and I'll export the wave and the MP3. Just screenshot this, copy these settings if you want to, then I'll click Start and then bounce it out. Now you'll notice that this beat is at 0 dB. If you're worried that a rapper's not going to have room to rap on this, then don't worry. Every beat that I made for Lats, every song that we've done together, I made the beat exactly in the same way. Just got a quick mix, bounced it out, then he just turned it down when he recorded vocals over it. He used the wave file, but Shorty, the placement that I got in the US, he actually just used the MP3. I bounced it out like this, sent the MP3, and they just recorded over the MP3 and released it over the MP3. So don't worry, okay? But if it is ever a problem, then that's what the stems are for. And you'll notice that we brought all the levels down when we started leveling this beat. And that is because now when we bounce the stems out, none of them are going to be clipping. Look at all the levels here. Super low, there's tons of headroom right there, so if they really want to have control over all the elements, then they can, man. So yeah, same process again, man. File, export, wave file, make a folder for it, stems, Saint Laurent. Just make sure the wave icon's ticked, and then come down here and make sure that split mixer tracks is ticked, click save, nothing clipping, and you're good to go. But yeah, that's everything you need to know. Drop a like if you enjoyed this quick mixing video. Let me know if you guys do anything differently in the comments. Subscribe for more gems, hit the bell, obviously, and I'll see you in the next one.